It's a Game Boy, but, you know, more advanced. Here's 5 reasons. Hi everyone, welcome to the latest on the stick video production, 5 reasons. I'm your host, Roger the Retro Gaming Puppet. 5 reasons came about for, well, 2 reasons. The first is that I've always said that 5 exclusive titles is enough to get me to want a system. And the second is there's been a lot of, well, talk about game preservation lately, and I think highlighting what makes a system or handheld worth preserving is the games, and the games that aren't available anywhere else. Plus, list shows are easy and they get a lot of views. Okay, let's lay down some ground rules before we get into this. The first thing is that the title of the show suggests this is about 5 exclusive games for a particular system. And when I say exclusive, I mean exclusive. You have to own something that will play the game in its original format to play it legally. That means no virtual console, no compilation discs on other systems, none of that stuff. Okay? Second thing, this is not a top 5 show. Okay, so I'm not saying these are the 5 best exclusive games. I'm just saying that they're 5 good games that you should check out. 5 reasons to own a system, not the best 5 reasons. And of course, in that spirit, some systems will get multiple episodes as we go down the line because, well, some systems have more than 5 reasons. Alright? Got it? Good. Let's do this. The Game Boy Advance was originally released in June of 2001 in the US, but the screen was notoriously difficult to see without a light source directly on it. So Nintendo dropped the Game Boy Advance SP, a redesign with a lit screen, in 2003. The last iteration of the hardware was in 2005 in the guise of the Game Boy Micro, which removed backwards compatibility with Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, so I would recommend passing on this version. As previously mentioned, these games can also be played on a Nintendo DS, DS Lite, and a GameCube with Game Boy Player attachment. So why keep any of these things around your house? Here's 5 reasons. And yes, I only have 4 fingers, but just, you know, use your imagination. Do you like Punch-Out? Do you wish there was more Punch-Out? If so, Wade Hickston's Counter-Punch may be up your alley. While it's not quite up to the standards set by Nintendo series, it does the trick, playing very similarly to Super Punch-Out on the SNES. Developer Destination Software doesn't exactly inspire confidence with the majority of their output. It's largely shovelware, but this is their shining star. And it's really worth picking up, especially since it's so cheap in the secondary market. I'll be honest, when it came out, Gunstar Superheroes was, well, it was kind of a disappointment for me. It's easy to see why Treasure famously held out on doing direct sequels for so long. Being removed from the game's release though, and better understanding why it doesn't do all the things the Genesis original does, I now appreciate it as a great action romp in its own right, even if it still doesn't quite stack up to the first game. Besides, it was way better than that mediocre Contra 3 port that was released on the GBA. Gradius Galaxies is not one of the best games in the Gradius series, but it's also a far cry from the worst, and that shouldn't deter you from playing it. The Gradius series is one of the best series with the highest standards in all of video games, and even a middling entry in this series is better than the majority of games that come out at any given time. A completely original Gradius game, this one is short but satisfying. The US version is pretty affordable, but the Japanese one has an extra mode, so if you're a shoot-'em-up fanatic, it might be worth picking up the Japanese one for the extra few bucks. And remember, Game Boy Advances do not have any kind of region coding. Double Dragon Advance is a face-kicking good time. Framed as a remake of Double Dragon 1, it's actually a lot more than that. It mashes up stages and aspects from a few games in the series that came before it, and adds new content and weapons. Double Dragon Advance is a unique beast that is worth your time, especially if you love beat-em-ups as much as I do. And it supports 2-player with a link cable. Developed largely by Million, made up of former Technos employees, this is one of the most overlooked entries in the series, and I highly recommend checking it out. Two treasure games? Yes. Astro Boy: The Omega Factor is an extremely ambitious action game featuring beat-em-up and shoot-em-up gameplay, along with exploratory aspects, time travel shenanigans, and a huge cast of characters. It's a blast to play, but the fact that it's a licensed title that, to my understanding, didn't sell all that well means it's unlikely to ever see a re-release. Trust me, it's worth your time and your money to pick up a copy. Astro Boy: The Omega Factor is one of my favorite GBA games. Heck, it's one of my favorite portable games, period. You should really check this one out. And, well, that's the end of the first episode of 5 Reasons. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.